Hi, Peter Charles here, Folk for Life, fly fishing. And today we're going to talk about using video to identify casting problems, and I didn't intend to make this video. It came about because I had a casting problem. Uh, Originally, this was supposed to be a video supporting my previous one where I talked about different line weights for the same rod rating or line rating. So you get two 9-weights and they have different head weights, resulting in different feel on the casting. That was the intention. Now, I've been doing some winter casting in the schoolyard, but I've got to do it when the school is not it's not open, and I got to do it when the weather's decent and the wind isn't howling, and it's been difficult getting all of that to line up. Well, I finally had a good day. I had the school was closed because of a holiday. Everything was cool, except my right elbow. I injured it quite a few years ago, and it plays me up every once in a while, and it was sore, and it still is actually. And what happened was I went out and started the video with the lighter line, and the sun wasn't in the best position, relationship to the wind direction. So I shot a bit of it and decided I'll go back home and, when the sun swings around, I'll go back out and finish it off, which is what I did. But when I came home and put the footage in the computer and looked at it, I saw I was doing something wrong with my double haul, and it's because of the elbow. I'm protecting the elbow because if I'm not careful, I've got a partially attached tendon in this elbow, so if I'm not careful, I can do some damage to it. So I was doing something that was really screwing up my double haul. Yeah, I was getting okay distance, 90, 100 feet, but that wasn't the point. It was pretty ugly. And if there had been any wind, if I was into a headwind, I would have had problems because I had a lot of wind, but it was a crosswind. So I try to take the wind out of the game when I'm doing these casting videos. So let's see what happened here. Here I'm just doing a couple of false casts and off it goes. You might have already seen the problem, and you'll see it in a moment here. You'll see how far I'm casting with all the stripping I'm having to do to pull it back in. But I mean, it wasn't a distance issue, it was a smoothness issue. The loop shapes were ugly. I was getting a bit of head crashing at times with some casts. Things were not going smoothly. So here we go, we're going to try it again. And look at how stiff my arm is and where the line is coming through. In this slow motion, you can see that my arm is pretty stiff. And look at the path my hand is taking. Big arc. And if I continue on, you'll see, look at that ugly line shape. And that's what was happening when it was going out. It was following the path of the rod, and you can see it follows. And I was casting with a stiff arm, more or less stiff arm. I was trying to avoid using my elbow because my elbow was sore. The point here is video gave me a chance to see this because I wasn't aware of it when I was casting. All I knew is things were kind of ugly and my elbow was hurting. But I was concentrating on the camera, thinking about the wind, where the sun was, blah, 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 blah. And I was missing what I was doing. So when I went back out in the afternoon, after the sun had swung around, I'm trying to get my elbow back into the game without hurting myself too much. And as you can see as I'm coming forward here, I've got a lot straighter path for the my hand, just a little tail off at the end. And if you can see the fly line here, I'll get the mouse, you can see it's that ugly curve. Look how nice and straight it is. All right, down here. So it's nice and straight because my hand went in a straight line and I just got a little dip at the end. Now, it's not a perfect cast. I did have a little bit of sideways motion. Again, I'm still trying to protect the elbow. So it wasn't a perfectly nice straight motion this way. There's a little bit of motion that way. But, I can see it in the video. And I can see what so having seen the first one, having loaded it up on my computer and seen it, I went back and shot the second one and tried to adjust for it so I get a better cast. So in the end, we ended up with, something reasonable in the way of a cast. And this was with the heavier line. And here I'm just showing you the difference between the two. So you can see the difference in the path of my hand from one video to the next, and I'll bring that all the way to the end. There we go. My hand ends up in about the same position. But in between, my hand was arcing in the first cast and going straighter in the second cast. And there's that little tail off at the end, which is not too bad. It's not that big a deal. It's that initial drive of the line in a straight line. If you can make it go in a straight line all the time, but you see, even me doing that here hurts a little bit. So I have to be careful. When that plays up, I have to, my casting has to be adjusted to compensate. So that's the advantage of putting up some video of your casting, so you can see these things that even when you're a casting instructor, you can be making mistakes and not really realizing it, because you're paying attention to other things. You're paying attention to the fishing, the environment, the conditions, whatever, and you're missing what you're doing wrong. And being able to put a camera on myself here, I was doing it for a totally different reason. I was doing it to show the difference, to talk about the difference in line weights for the same rated line, and ended up being a casting study. So I really do recommend you get out with a video camera or a phone or whatever you want to use. If you're having issues with your casting, I mean, just being able to slow it down like I did here and track your way through it and see what your hand is doing all the way through, what the line is doing. It's so valuable. So give it a try. Cheers.